Hi, my name is James Lee, and I'm coming to you with a review of the brand new BlackVue DR650 2-channel dashcam from Pittasoft. This is my first video review, so I hope you'll forgive some of the rough edges. I started researching dashcams about a year ago, but I came to the conclusion at the time that the technology wasn't quite there yet. For me anyway, but maybe I'm just picky. Even today, when you search Amazon for dashcams or visit popular review site dashcamtalk.com, you see the market is just flooded with no-name and rebranded devices. What the heck is an e-prance? And do you think Garmin actually engineered that? I don't want to suggest that these devices don't work, but I'm a firm believer in buying once and buying right. I'll happily pay more for a quality product from a reputable company. Before I get into the specifics of the BlackVue, let me talk about what I think is important in a dashcam in general. First and foremost, I should be able to set it and forget it. I have enough devices to play with. A dashcam shouldn't be one of them. It should record continuously, overwriting the oldest footage without intervention. In fact, I don't even want to have to set the time on it. A built-in GPS receiver will be able to do that for me. GPS is also nice to have to keep an accurate record of your speed and location. Some people fear that GPS data could be used against them, but after considering it, I realize both speed and location can be derived from the video anyway. So what's the difference? It should have a supercapacitor, not a battery. Most dashcams have some way to keep recording in the event of an accident, but the cheaper units have batteries which don't age well and aren't very reliable in extreme temperatures. Supercapacitors don't really have these problems. It must be capable of front and rear recording. If you're only recording the front, you're only getting half the story. And I suppose if you're only recording while you're driving, you're getting even less than that. So it should also have a parking mode to record what happens when you're not around your car. Lastly, and most importantly, it must be officially available in North America. The minute you tell me to buy from some shady importer on eBay, I'm no longer interested. So as you can see, I expect a lot from a dashcam, and the BlackVue is really the only one that met my requirements. Let's have a closer look at it. It comes nicely packaged in a fairly modern-looking box. You see this is the international version. It's made in Korea. This is interesting. It's FCC approved. Nice to know Pittasoft plays by the rules. Inside the box is everything you need to get started. The front camera, the rear camera, extra adhesives and cable clips, plus a microSD card reader, a 12 to 24 volt power adapter, and a long coaxial cable to connect the front and rear cameras. There's also a full-color manual in pretty good English. My order came with a PowerMagic Pro, also from Pittasoft, to hardwire the BlackVue to my car. Though I should note, it also works with any dashcam. It basically allows the dashcam to keep running while the car is off until your car battery dips below a certain voltage or a configurable timer is reached. The thing's not very pretty, but it gets hidden away in your fuse box. Looking at the cameras themselves, I like the discreet cylindrical design and the matte black color. The camera can rotate 360 degrees in its mount. On one side is a proximity sensor that can be used to toggle audio recording. On the other is a cover, under which the included microSD card is stored. On this side are also power and coax sockets and a Wi-Fi toggle button. My unit came with a 16GB microSD card, and 32GB versions are available, but I found it was actually cheaper to buy a 32GB card separately on Amazon. The DR650 will support cards up to 64GB. Installation took the better part of an afternoon, but I'm a perfectionist, and I spent a lot of time centering and aligning the cameras and hiding wires. I imagine you could be up and running in as little as 20 minutes if you don't care as much about these things. After a lot of trial and error, I found that the best way to get properly aligned cameras is to run a string straight down the outside of your windshield, then use the LiveView capabilities of the BlackVue to center the string in frame, and the rest will take care of itself. For hardwiring the BlackVue and PowerMagic Pro to my car, I opted to use a couple add-a-circuit kits. My car has both standard and mini-sized fuses, so I originally bought the standard-sized kits, but it was only after receiving them that I saw they're only rated for 10-amp circuits. The only circuits in my car less than 10 amps use the mini-sized fuses, so I had to take a trip to the auto parts store to get a couple of mini add-a-circuit kits. With those in hand, it was really just a simple matter of identifying one circuit that is always on and one that switches on with the ignition. A multimeter is useful here. Then just follow the instructions on the out-of-circuit kit to install them properly. The PowerMagic Pro connects to the new circuits quite easily. The battery lead to the always-on circuit, the accessory lead to the switched circuit, and the ground to virtually any metal part in your car. I ran the wires along the headboard, around the A-pillar, and down under the weather stripping. The only tricky part was loosening the A-pillar cover, which on my car required prying off this little cover and unscrewing the screw underneath. A little plastic spudger was useful here. Installed, the front camera fits nicely behind my rear view mirror. From my driving position, I can barely see it. I should note that this camera seems to have been designed for left-hand drive vehicles. For right-hand drive, the mirror would not leave enough room to be able to center the lens in this way. The rear camera was easier to install, especially because the coaxial cable carries both power and signal. I was a little worried about how the camera and wiring would cope with being on a rear liftgate, but with the included cable clips, I was able to leave a loop of wire available to handle it. From the driver position, the camera is not distracting in the rear view mirror, and it has a subtle LED to reassure you that it's working. From the outside, thanks to their small size and black color, the cameras are not noticeable unless you are specifically looking for them. The front camera has a blinking security LED that defaults to on, but I've turned this off in the settings. Throughout this video, I've been showing some of the footage from the BlackVue, but now let's take a closer look at how it behaves under various real-world conditions. The front camera has a wide angle of view, but not so wide that it causes distortion. It records in Full HD 1080p at 30 frames per second, so the picture is clear and detailed, and you can usually zoom in enough to read a license plate. The rear camera has more of a fisheye perspective, which I think works well for the back. It only records at 720p, so there is noticeably less detail compared to the front. It's enough to see what's going on, but don't expect to be able to read license plates. Both the front and rear videos are recorded with timestamps, an optional speed indicator, and sound. They record in sync as you would expect. At night, noise creeps in to reduce detail. The picture remains well exposed, even with oncoming headlights. Sadly, my unit came from the factory with literally hundreds of dead and stuck pixels. I really expected more from this Sony Exmor sensor. Surprisingly, I think the rear camera produces an excellent image at night. You can easily see what's happening, and when we come to a stop, you can still read a license plate. One thing that was said to give the older BlackVue model trouble was a lot of motion detail, such as in these overhead trees. With the increased recording bitrate of the DR650, I think they've taken care of that. Still, there's always room for improvement. It's worth pointing out that the camera splits clips into 1-minute segments by default. In this sequence, you can see that the clips are perfectly gapless for the front and have a few frames dropped for the rear. Now I'm in the car recording through the DR650's internal microphone, speaking at a normal volume. As you can hear, it's quite clear and without an abundance of road noise. Not bad for a dashcam. Parking mode engages after 5 minutes of not moving. It records 1-minute clips whenever it detects motion from either the front or rear cameras. In busy places, it will record continuously, so I would recommend having at least a 32GB memory card. Mine stores about 8 hours of video before looping over older clips. It's worth mentioning that the camera will even overwrite clips that it marks as events. If you want to be sure an event doesn't get overwritten, copy it off the memory card as soon as possible, or use the app to lock it. It's fairly easy to do either of these things as the app runs on your smartphone and connects to the BlackVue over Wi-Fi. The app also lets you filter and view the clips stored on the memory card. In practice, this works well enough, but the app does crash sometimes, and it's not going to win any awards for design. One thing I think Pittasoft deserves a lot of credit for is their desktop app. It presents a very intuitive way to browse through thousands of clips by day, hour, minute, and second, quickly showing which clips are normal, event, or parking modes. It has all the usual playback controls, plus some others like speed adjustment. It automatically does picture-in-picture and lets you zoom in on the video. It also shows you your speed and position, and the 3-axis accelerometer data. I don't know why one axis always shows as 1G though. All in all, it's a great addition to the Dashcam. I ordered my BlackVue from blackboxmycar.com since they were the first place to have it in stock. The owner, Alex, was very responsive, and the package had no trouble coming in from Canada via the postal service. As for alternatives, I was really interested in the Cohen Autocapsule AW2. Cohen is a company I know and trust, and it looks like the AW2 ticks all of my boxes, except it isn't available in the US. Come on, Cohen. Another is the Vicovation Marcus 5. It seems pretty capable, but man is it ugly. It's also not available in the US. All in all, I've been finding the BlackVue nice to have. It lives up to the set and forget dash cam I was looking for, and has already captured some close calls. Anyway, that about wraps up my review. Thanks for watching.